Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to the Matt Ridge Davidson-Davie Community College Coaches Show. I'm Miles Poole. This is Coach Matt Ridge and also the Athletics Director here at DDCC. And we're coming to you live from Brinkley Gym tonight. Got a really good show for you this evening. We're going to talk about last night's home game, big win with GTCC, as well as touch on the other 8 games we played since our last Coaches Show. So it's been a lot of games since our last time on the air here. And we'll cover those, touch on those. Also got a really special guest tonight. This gentleman that's going to be on here as our special guest has been the clock operator, I guess, since the first game of your program, Scott Overton.
Scott was part of the committee that hired me in 2007 to start the basketball program, and he's been here every step of the way, running the clock for almost every home game. He's traveled all over literally the country to watch us and support us. He's done many, many things behind the scenes that people have no clue about, like lots of people in our community have, and including give money to our program. So can't say enough great things about Scott Overton.
So we have Scott with us. We also have 2 of our red shirt players. KT Tatum's going to be with us, as well as Jordis Brodnick. So we're looking forward to that. And we want to remind you, we'll be following the comments on Facebook. If you want to ask Coach Ridge or any of our guests or players a question via the Facebook link, you can do that, and we'll track that. So let's dive right in, Coach. You guys 22-1 overall, 15-1 now in conference play. Second-ranked team in the nation in D2, right behind undefeated National Park College out of Hot Springs, Arkansas. First place in Region 10 standings. A lot of activity since our last Coaches Show, and we'll go all the way back to mid-January. First games we want to talk about are back-to-back games with Pitt and Lenoir. So on the 13th, you guys faced a tough Bulldog team from Pitt, came away with a 90-74 conference win. What were some of the things you were able to do against Pitt to get that win?
Well, winning on the road is never easy in Region 10, and Pitt was certainly ready to play. We weren't at our best the first half, although I thought Najee and a few of our other players carried us there in the first half. I think Najee finished with a double-double that night. But the second half, DJ came off, the cold shooting slump there in the first half and shot the ball really well. I think he finished with around 19. I think 17 of those were in the second half. And our guys did a great job of finding him. And Jacob Moore also had a big game. I think he also had a double-double. But got out of there with a win, and then the very next night had to turn around and play, or next day, at Lenoir. So it was a big weekend for us.
Yeah, you get up the next day, you go to Lenoir, strong Lancer team, but you come away with a 99-71 win. Close game at the break, I think 43-36, 7-point Storm lead, and you outscored Lenoir 56-35 in the final 20 minutes for the road win. What were some of the keys to help you pull away from the Lancers in that second half?
Well, one of the things we try to pride ourselves in every year here is being in the best shape of our life and being the best conditioned team in the country, and I thought our conditioning in the second half really helped us pull away there. We got some stops and got out in transition, which is when we're at our best. I think our 2-3 zone also in that second half was pretty effective. Lenoir does a great job of getting in the lane and driving you, and I thought us throwing the zone on them late was a huge decision that our kids executed and was able to get some stops and out in transition.
In that game, Ethan English, 7 assists, no turnovers. That's a big stat. Not a lot of points, but something I know you've worked on.
Yeah, be honest with you, Ethan and some of Aiden Taylor and some of our other guys have been trending in a positive direction. One of the 3 things you have to do to win a championship is not turn it over, rebound, and play great D. And I also want to give Kevin Egan a shout-out. He works tirelessly behind the scenes. He's one of our math instructors here at the college. We've had him on the show before, but he has been meeting with myself and our team and our coaches for every game. He's spending an hour, 2 hours behind the scenes to help prepare us for these games, giving us some analytical stats to help me make decisions. And to be honest with you, one of the reasons we went zone in the second half was because of Kevin and the information he had given me going into that game.
I want to give a shout out to DJ too. I know he was back in his home county, and he had 24 in that game as well.
He had a big weekend that weekend, shot the ball really well, and he's one of the best shooters, not just on our team, but in the region and the country.
Well, next up, we had our first look of the season at GTCC. That game not too far away in High Point. Highest scoring game of the year so far. We came away with a 131-66 win against the Titans. Not only was it your highest scoring game of the season, but one of your guys, Jacob Moore, had a monster game.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, he had a great game, but I want to commend his teammates. I mean, they did a phenomenal job getting him the ball when he was open. And I don't remember if it was 10, 11, 12. I mean, he had about 10 to 12 dunks. And obviously, some of that is Jacob Moore, but obviously his teammates did a phenomenal job finding him at the right time and getting him the ball where he can finish around the rim.
He got nominated. I think he got recognized. The NJCAA gave him the D2 National Player of the Week, I think, wasn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I think we've had now 13 or 14 of those in the 17 years.
Nice honor. But like you said, you have to give a lot of credit to the teammates too. So on the 24th of January, full house here at Brinkley. You're back home for a matchup with, tough opponent. The Trojans of Fayetteville Tech. They came in ranked 20th in the country. Always a close game. The first matchup, we played those guys close at their place. We won by 4, 72-68. Brian Hurd had his team coming in here. They were focused. And you found yourself in an unusual position. You guys were down by 10 points at halftime. What were some of the things that you covered with the team at the break that maybe changed things up in the second half?
Well, number one, Coach Hurd does an amazing job with his scouting, his recruiting, just his program in general. He's definitely one of the best coaches, not just in the region, but in my opinion, in the country. They're on the rise. They've been on the rise. So tip your hat to Coach Hurd, Coach McCain there at Fayetteville Tech. I mean, both games we've had with them have been close, not just the one in Brinkley. And as you well know, we haven't lost in Brinkley, I believe, now in 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. We were down 10 at half. I don't think that's been the case in years, literally. And our guys, I thought the second half came out with a little bit more sense of urgency, especially defensively. First half, we were getting blown by. You know, I had to go to a zone, which I hated doing, but we did it. And I was proud of how we responded there in the second half. But, I mean, Coach Hurd battled back, and they tied it up with, I think, a minute and some change to go. And we made a few buckets down the stretch and tip our hat to our guys for staying poised there when Fayetteville Tech made their run. I mean, there was some big swings in that game. We were down as much as, I think, 13 or 14 and then 10 at the half. Then we come out, we take the lead, go up as much as 7, 8, or 9, and then all of a sudden with a minute and some change to go, it's tied. And then, again, we finished the game. But Coach Hurd does an amazing job, and I wouldn't be surprised if we may see him again in the regional finals maybe.
14 of the last 15 games of those guys, you guys have won. And you would think, well, that's not much of a rivalry, but 8 of those games have been by 5 points or less. Mm-hmm. So very, very close ball games. What do you think it is about that team? How are they able to play you so close? And they do.
Miles, I got to figure that out. I tell Coach Hurd that all the time. I mean, clearly he's been coaching against me for 16 years, I believe. He started coaching at Central Carolina my second year here at Davidson-Davie. But, I mean, he's scouted me and he's coached against me for a long, long time, and he's able to get his guys to be really self-disciplined, take the shot they want to take to try to shorten the game, and then defensively they play so hard. And they're one of the best rebounding teams in the country. And when you look at them warm up, you wouldn't think that. But they got guards that are just willing to go in there and rebound and bang and be physical. And, again, that goes back to something Coach Hurd and his staff, Coach McCain, emphasize, and that's rebounding the basketball.
Well, on Saturday the 27th, we had the Bulldogs of Pitt come here, a team we had beaten 2 weeks earlier, as we talked about. The final margin in this game was a little bit larger. We came away with a 98-73 win. Tremendous start in that game. You guys got off to a 59-31 jump at the break. What were the keys for you building that large first-half lead against Pitt?
Well, we played really well on both sides of the ball. When you are up that much at half against a quality opponent like them, I mean, we had numerous really good performances. I mean, I think Trey ended up with another double-double that game. But I was really proud of how we defended on and off the ball in the first half. We were able to get out in transition, and that's when we're at our best, when we're getting stops, and our best offense is our defense. Yeah,
Trey had 23 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists in that game. Maybe that's career high, Trey? Yeah? Career high for Trey. He matched it last night, by the way. Talk about that performance from him, in playing through an injury and kind of progressing as the seasons come along.
Well, Trey didn't practice at all in the preseason. August, September, and October, he was coming off that knee surgery from the summer, and so you have to really tip your hat to Trey because he's battled through a lot. His knee is still swelling up some, so we have to manage that some in practice. But the last month, I would say, he continues to get better and better. I think, he's not even playing with a brace on it now. And so, sometimes when your knee is swelling up, you have to be mindful of that. And Trey's done a great job of listening to his body. But on the back end, it's also mentally, I think sometimes guys are unsure of themselves coming off a knee surgery. I can speak to that myself from having knee surgery. So, I'm really proud of Trey. He's playing at a high level, and he continues to get better and better. And down this home stretch, I expect big things out of Trey.
Well, we're wrapping up January. The team traveling to Shelby down the road a little ways. First ever meeting against first-year program Cleveland Community College. Close game at the half. You guys up 40-33, but again, you're able to pull away in that final 20 minutes, winning by the score of 94-69. Give us a little highlights of this first ever meeting with the Yetis. I think they're the Yetis, aren't they?
Yes, sir. It was a much anticipated game. I've known Coach Pierce for a long, long time, and he did a good job in recruiting. A lot of times when you have a new team in the league, there's such enthusiasm on their end. Sometimes there's things said that may not come across as the right way. So we were really motivated for this game, and I was really looking forward to this game. The second half, we were as good as we've been all year. It was a tight game. I think 7-point lead at halftime, and our guys came in our locker room and really locked down defensively. And again, we were able to get out in transition and make a few buckets. Najee, I think, had another great game, double-double. I think he had 13 and 10. And then we had, I think, 5 or maybe 6 players in double figures. So I was really proud of how we shared the ball in Shelby that night.
Another game where Ethan English had 8 points, 7 assists, and no turnovers as well. So another 0 turnover night for Ethan.
Well, Ethan had 7 assists, no turnovers. I think Mike Wade had 5 assists, no turnovers. And Aiden Taylor, our other point guard, had 7 assists and 2 turnovers. So when you combine 7, 5, and 7, I think that's 19 assists and only 2 turnovers with 3 of our guards. So that's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's pretty good assist to turnover rate ratio there. Going into February now, we had a game here last Saturday against Lenore. Second time around with the Lancers, it seemed much easier than the first time. I think we came away 94-53 win. You again delivered the knockout blow in the first half, 56-19 point lead. Give us some highlights of that strong conference win.
Miles, we have 12 defensive goals, and our goal is to get 8 of the 12 every game. We've never lost when we get 8 of the 12, and I believe we got 8 this game. The first half, I think we were on track to have 11 out of 12, but we were as good as we've been in a long time defensively. Now, on their end, they had 3 starters that did not dress for different reasons, so obviously that had an impact on the game. They're much better than they played that day. They missed shots they normally make, but I thought we were really, really good on the ball, pressuring it. We call it TOBP, tremendous on-ball pressure, denying, contesting shots, helping one pass away, not getting split when they drive, transition D. All these things we emphasize and work on every day. Those habits really showed up that first half, which resulted to a 56-19 lead because we're not only just playing D, but we were making shots. We shot the 3 ball pretty well in the first half as well.
Again, I want to give a shout-out to Imani. Again, Ethan English, double-double in that game, 13 points, 11 assists, 2 turnovers. Still assist-to-turnover ratio good. So, all right, we'll get to last night's game. GTCC coming in, you beat them by 65 on the 18th of January. Last night, pretty much the same story. You won by 52 points, 99-47. How tough is it when you get into those kind of games, especially getting into the second half, the second part of the second half? How tough is it to keep the players focused on playing your basketball?
Well, it should have been closer to 60. Those last 60 seconds we were terrible. But, it's hard for kids, I think, to focus for 40 minutes when you're up big. But that's the challenge, and that's the expectation, and that's the standard here at Davidson-Davie. We have not been good at that this season. When we get up 20 to 30, 40 points, keeping our foot on the pedal. But I think after I took that first time out with about 15 minutes to go last night, we did a better job. And I told them that last night after the game, and I told them again today. We've got to be able to do that for 40 minutes going forward down the road in the regionals or the nationals, because that can end your season against, better opponents. And it happened to us 2 or 3 years ago. I told them, we were up 30-plus in the national semifinals against Garrett out of Maryland, and they cut it to 6. So it's possible to have teams go on a huge run. So we had to be mature mentally and be able to handle success just like adversity, and that's the challenge. I've got to do a better job of getting these guys to play the game the right way no matter what the score is.
You talked a little bit ago about your defensive goals, and if I look at the defense, just the last 3 games, 69 points Cleveland scored against you guys. You held Lenore to 53. Last night you held the Titans to 47. How you feeling about your defense as you wind down the regular season?
We're hoping it will continue to trend in that direction. Obviously, we know we have some tough opponents coming up really soon, one of which is tomorrow night on the road. So we've got to continue to grind it out, because it takes what it takes to be successful. And a little number beside your name being ranked number 2 in the country, last time I checked, that doesn't help you win any games. You got to stay humble, and that is something we've really tried to emphasize. So hopefully our kids will stay humble and hungry and not get a big head.
Well, Jeremy Ritter is watching. Want to say hello to Jeremy. Brandon Mullis also not here tonight. He's watching. Got a question coming in from Coach Brian Hurd. So Coach Hurd's listening tonight, Fayetteville Tech's head coach, and he says, ask Coach Ridge, if the good Lord blesses us to see the Storm again, what might be his game plan to try to beat us a third time in the season, asking for a friend, he says.
Coach Hurd, we talked today. I said if you ask too specific a question, I may not answer it. But, that would be fun to see that happen. So, again, Coach Hurd does a great job, and he's not just a competitor. He's somebody that's truly a really good friend of mine, and we talk a few times every week, and I enjoy our friendship.
Thank you for the question, Coach. We appreciate that. So we're up to date now where we're at. Let's take a real quick look for our Storm fans around the conference. So we're at 15-1. We're atop the Region 10 conference standings. How does everything else shake out at this point?
Well, you got Fayetteville Tech breathing down our neck. Two games right behind us, so we cannot take a night off, or they can quickly sneak right up and be either tied or take the lead. And then you got right behind them 3 or 4 teams that are kind of bottleneck there with Lewisburg, Bryant Stratton, Lenore, and Cleveland. So you got 6 teams there in the upper half of the league that are all capable, in my opinion, of really making a run at this. And then right behind them, you got Central Carolina that can really, really shoot it. And then down there, Catawba Valley, Pitt. I mean, Pitt's as good as a lot of teams in the country. And so there's a lot of talent in Region 10, and you got to respect your opponent no matter who you're playing or where you're playing. And, the regional tournament, everybody's going to be fighting for their life.
Well, you mentioned Fayetteville Tech right behind you guys. They beat Lenore last night 67-60, and they are still ranked 20th in the country in the D2 polls.
And that's well deserved. They should have been in the poll long before they are. I mean, they've played us tooth and nail twice now, and they had us down, like you said earlier, here and at Fayetteville Tech. We had to come from behind both games. So, again, Coach Hurd does a great job, and I have a lot of respect for him and his staff and Coach McCain.
Well, as we do each show, we typically have a special guest. We also like to talk with former and current players, and we're going to break right now from Coach, and we're going to bring Scott Overton up to the there you go. Nice. Brian Hughes also watching tonight. Brian, hope you're doing well. So, Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, for Storm fans, you've been the clock operator here from day one of the program, really. And before we talk basketball, give us a little background of your work here at DDCC.
Okay, so I've been an employee here for 21 years, or going on 21 years. I teach automotive. I'm the second-year automotive instructor. We actually have more than one instructor in our program. So teaching students about how to service vehicles, do things like that. One of the basketball players is actually in our program. So just being involved through that, and then athletics and whatever way they need me to help. In this case, clock operator.
So outside now, you operate the game clock, not the shot clock, right? There's a difference, or
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the shot clock has to be reset every time the ball touches the rim. So that's something, Mark Beck does a good job of that. You got to have your eye on the ball and when it hits the rim and whether it does or not. And usually the referee's does a good job of letting you know when that's supposed to happen. But with the shot clock versus the game clock, I start it and I don't stop it until I hear the whistle blow. So doing that part's not a big deal. And I do the scoreboard, of course. So every time somebody scores, I have to add that. What they score, we score. Try to keep up with the fouls and also the possession arrow.
Well, Coach Riggs, Coach Ridge speaks highly of you, Scott, and your commitment to Storm basketball here again since day one in 2007. He says that you were involved in actually bringing him here, right? You were a part of the panel, I guess, that interviewed him. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that interview process, if you can remember back 2007?
Yeah, a long time ago, right? Obviously, it is a committee. Every position that's hired at the college usually has a hiring committee, and I was one of 3 or 4, however many people were on the committee at the time. And then, Coach Ridge comes in and interviews. I think we were talking about it earlier. He comes in. I think he was on crutches, from having that surgery he had done on his knee, and still dressed to kill, right, doing the whole suit deal and all that stuff. And of course, he performed well in the interview. He doesn't have any issues, communicating and getting his point across and answers questions directly, and just does a real excellent, job with that. And I think, when we all walked out of there, we talked about it. He checked all the boxes. I don't think there was any question in anybody's mind, when he left that was the one we were going with. So.
You look back 16 years later, it was a great choice, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at it now, I was like, man, I did a good job getting that guy in here, right?
So the early years, if we think about the early years of Davidson-Davie basketball, it was Davidson County Community College, but back in those days. Can you compare that when they first started to the level that you have here now? Are there any differences in your opinion?
I tell you, it seems like it's always been competitive from the very first game to where we are now. We've always had good athletes come in, good basketball. Coaches always done a good job. Matter of fact, I remember that first team. You're talking about great players. Justin Strickland comes in here. His name's on the floor now. He comes in. I think he leads the nation in scoring. All-American. Just a phenomenal player. And watching that level of basketball right out the gate, I don't think he's slowed down at all. It just continues to get better and better. I know at some point he's going to walk away with that national championship. Been so close, a couple times in the year. Obviously, they got canceled. I don't think anybody would have questioned. We were the favorite to win that that year as well. So I know it's coming. I just can't tell you exactly when, but I know it's coming. This might be the year.
Could be the year, yeah. In the 17 years of your service as a clock operator, a game clock operator, have you missed any games?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I've already missed one this year. I didn't know it was going to happen. My son he's been recognized at NC State, and so I had to go. Obviously, family and all that stuff. You got to take care of that. And Coach preaches the same thing. Family. I would say, just being conservative, maybe I've missed a dozen, maybe not a. Yeah, or less, somewhere in that range.
Wow.
And that time span. I try to be here and be reliable. I think there was one game I actually got here late one time. I don't remember what it was that happened. Something caused me to be late. I remember that. That was probably the most embarrassing moment for me. Like, missing the game is one thing because usually he knows. But if you come in late for whatever reason, it's like, dude, what's going on? I remember he called me or texted me. He's like, hey, man, you coming? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get there. I just can't. I don't remember what it was. I just remember being late one time, and that was mortifying. But that's. I don't miss many. I try to go to the away games that are close enough. It's reasonable for me to get to, and then when we get to the point of the season where if you lose, it's over. I try to make those too. I've been to Maryland, like you said, and New York, and all the play. Yeah, I've been to the national championships every time we've been to that. So I want to see them win. I want to them be successful, and in some ways even be a part of that, something bigger than you. So
now. Probably not a fair question for you and put you on the spot because, there's been a lot of great basketball played here over the last 16 plus years. But if I ask you for your favorite moment in a game or your favorite game, would there be one that you could point out?
It does. It's funny you say that, and there is always one. There is a play that stands out to me that I can still remember the shock and awe. Like I was doing the clock like I always do, and I remember being into the game because it's hard to be a fan right? And then also work for doing something that you have to be on top of your game, especially when it's a close game. I hate close games. I love it when we blow them out because if it's a close game, I get all drawn into, oh my gosh, we're going to win this, we lose it, and I forget to hit the button or maybe late or something like that because I'm so caught up in the game. So being a fan hurts you in that scenario. It'd be better if you didn't care nothing about it, because you could just do your job. But when you're a fan, it makes it a little tougher. But Maurice Nash, when he was here, he's probably one of my favorite players that's been through this program. I loved watching him play. I loved his attitude, his mentality. We used to laugh about how sometimes he'd come off the court with his arms down, like, oh, coach, didn't do something right or he wanted to do better, or whatever the case was. But I loved watching him play. And there was I don't remember which game it was. I just remember I was sitting there. The clock stopped because he's at the free throw line. I think he makes the first one. And then on the second free throw, he shoots it long, and it hits the back iron. And it comes back to him. He catches it, takes one power dribble, like two hands, and then goes through the middle of everybody. Like their team, our team, and just dunks on everybody. Like whoever was in the lane got dunked on. And I just remember looking at that, watching that play from where I was sitting. I was like, did that really just happen? He was a phenomenal athlete. And like I said, just good guy. He ended up coaching, here at Lexington, a few years ago when my son was playing basketball. I remember he was helping assist, was it Wadey? Was the coaching the JVs and all that too over there, and I remember they were coaching together, and he was one of my favorites. And that play stands out. Every time somebody asks me about plays or games at Davis, I remember that play. Although I have to say, Frank's dunk, against you talking about Lenore or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That's that first half, that alley-oop. I was like, dude, did you see how high he was? Where I was sitting, it looked like his head was above the rim. I was like, that was nasty. And then he did another one in the second half. Not as quite as good as the first one, but that first half dunk was pretty nasty too. So I'll remember that one for a while.
I thought you were going to use DJ's three-pointer to win the game here on the Thanksgiving tournament for Henry Ford. There's a lot of them, right?
The problem with those games is those are the close games,
right?
And I'm so nervous about it. And I'm like, gosh, dude, I hate overtime games. I hate the one-point games. Let's blow everybody out. So all I got to do is hit the button and not, just be relaxed. So those games, they stand out because I'm scared to death we're going to lose, And I know that sounds crazy, but when people ask me, like, who's your favorite team? I say the Storm. Yeah. And they say, and I might get sometimes, Carolina, dude, the Storm, I'm telling you. If it's worth the ticket and price of admission. You come watch, it's good basketball.
I agree with you 100%. So what are your thoughts on this year's team? I'm curious.
Yeah, I love them. I think they're just as good as some of the other contenders we had. Like I said, it might be the year. He's played on teams that, he's seen the level of talent and the skills it takes. He could probably tell you as good as anybody else. Like this team, we've got some components that we need. We got size, we got speed, we got strength, we got defense. Y'all were talking about Ethan earlier. One thing that I notice about Ethan every time we play is the man steals the ball about as much as he assists. He plays good defense. And, you learn to appreciate that. I think Coach, he stresses the defense. That wins championships, as they say. And I think this team has got a lot of that.
Well, as we near the end of the regular season, speaking of championships, we've got the conference tourney coming up, and then potentially the national tourney. Any advice for these guys that you would have? Oh man, just keep working hard. Don't let up. Just stay on the throttle. I know sometimes when you get to the point where you're 22-1 or 30-1 or whatever the record is, you expect to beat people, right? You expect to win, and that's good. So be confident, but at the same time, stay on it. Don't let up. Second half is where we typically pull away from people. Yeah. And when we have opponents like Fayetteville Tech or teams that we're down at the half, typically all that running, all that conditioning, all that pushing that he's made them do all year long during practice, that's when it pays off. And I think that's kind of the way he coaches. The hardest part of your game should be practice, so that when you get into the games, it's easy. If you practice harder than you play, it just comes natural and makes it easy. In this gym right here, 250-19 is our record. So that's almost a 93% win percentage. That's fantastic. And you've seen most of those games because you've been here working. Yes, what do you think it is about this atmosphere, this gym, that makes it tough for an opponent to come in here and win? We're right on top of you, right? Not only you're invested in the program, you got a lot of, Jerry Hunt and all the guys, all the people that are invested in the program, but the ones that show up that are here in the stands, it's usually packed. I know Guilford Tech not quite the same as last game, but,
Usually it's packed. I mean, there's not a place to sit. People are kind of on the sides over here and in the corners trying to fit in, and you're right on top of the court. You know, I hate to bring them up, but Duke's kind of that way, and they're, you know, I don't like talking about those guys, but they're right on top. Yeah, Patrick's over here. He knows what I'm talking about. I can't stand that guy, but anyway, they come in, they're on top. We're on top of you. You know, give them a hard time. We've got fans that they'll stay on top of the refs. They'll stay on top of, you know, the other teams, the coaches, and all that, but. It's just a tough place to play. You expect to win when you're here. The other team expects to have, you know, a tough opponent when they come here. And I think it's just a confidence thing. This is our house. This is our place. We're not going to let anybody come in and take it away from us.
Coach Hurd wanted me to ask you in the interview process with Coach Ridge, he had a suit on, but did he have on his blue Nikes?
You know, I don't remember that. He may have had. I don't even remember that, honestly. I just remember he was on crutches or something. Something was going on. He come in with a little bit of a limp.
So final question for you, Scott.
Yes,
if
sir.
you're a young player listening or watching our program tonight, what would be a reason or reasons for them to look at DDCC to further their education and to come here and play some basketball?
Well, for one thing, if you want to continue playing the game, I think that Coach Ridge has proven that you can come here, you can learn the game. It's a quality basketball program that other programs, four-year institutions, they see, you know, the success that he's had, the kind of players that he turns out. If continuing to play the game is part of your goal, if that's what you want to do, I think that Davidson-Davie can do that about as good as any junior college program. And so if that's what you're here, that's what you want to do is continue to play the game. You want that individual attention. You want to be competitive. You want a shot at a national title. I think we're probably the best bet for you to do that.
Good advice. So appreciate you coming and being
Yes,
part of the
sir.
Coach's Show.
Yes,
Scott
sir.
Overton,
Put it in
great
the
job.
version.
And
Yes, sir.
thank you for your 21 years of service here at the school and 17 as the clock operator. All right, KT Tatum going to come in now. KT, a 6-foot guard out of Charlotte, North Carolina. KT, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Today? I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Levine Middle College High School.
Yes, sir. That's I graduated from there. It was an early college
Yeah.
that I went to. Didn't really make the best decisions school academics wise. So, but it is a great school. So yeah.
So you played ball there, average 11 points a game. I think your senior season, 4 rebounds, 4 assists a game. Leaving school there, what influenced your decision to come here to DDCC and be part of this historic basketball program?
Well, honestly, just like my dear teammate DJ, I'm one of the older guys. So I did take 4 years off of basketball. I quit, actually. Didn't touch a basketball for 4 years. And came back. One of my trainers who I came back with mentioned they have these open tryouts / open gym runs. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go give it a shot. It was a last-minute thing. Came up here. Coach Ridge was not at the first one, but Coach Dumas and Coach Allen invited me back after playing decently well. And Coach Ridge had offered me a spot on the team after that. So I was like, I seen all the banners. I seen what he was talking about, and I was like, you know, I got to go for it.
So did you know about the program, though, before you came here?
No, sir. I honestly haven't even heard about Lexington, North Carolina. And I'm like an hour away, so yeah.
You know now.
Oh, yeah, definitely know now, for sure.
So you're a redshirt this year. What does the season as a redshirt look like for you?
Honestly, it's not much different than any of the players. I mean, all the amenities and all of everything that the quote unquote active players get, I get the same. As a redshirt, I mean, mentally, it's pretty tough. I mean, knowing that, you know, you want to be out there actively helping the team, but you know, I can help the team in other ways. So yeah.
So experience been pretty good for you so
yes,
far.
Yes, sir. Great.
Now, I know outside of your academic and your athletic responsibilities, you do some other things for Storm basketball. I mean, you help us out with game time production. You do some of the video, camera work. You've come in and done some camera work for a Coach's Show as well. So talk about how you became involved in those activities. Is that something you're interested in?
Yes, sir. Definitely something I'm interested in. Coach Ridge gave me the opportunity, and I just try to look at my future and stuff like that. And, I mean, honestly, I could throw that on a resume. So I'm like, why not? And I'm interested in production and stuff like that. So I said, I'll go for it, definitely.
Good. You put on the headset. You're doing very, very well. Jarvis Tillman, former player, did our color commentary last night for the basketball game. So you could put that on your resume as well. So when you get a chance to suit up next year for the program, KT, what are the strengths that you bring to the floor?
Personally, I would say I bring energy. As my teammates can attest to, I like the competitive energy. I get on my teammates a lot because I think energy just makes you play better. So yeah, energy and I say leadership.
So what are the aspects of the game, your game, that you're working on?
Everything. I can work on everything. Every single piece of my game. Nothing's complete. I'm not Michael Jordan. I'm not Kobe Bryant. So get better at everything.
So what does a typical day look like for you, being a student athlete here at DDCC? I mean, you got to balance and manage your academics and your athletics. What does a typical day look like for you here?
This semester, I actually have all classes online, so I do have a little bit of more freedom. But before practice, I like to get a lift in. I'm trying to, gain a little weight here, get a lift in, get some shots up on the gun like Coach Rich preaches, and just go to practice, but also do my academics. I get my academics done either before I lift or at night after practice.
Are you getting 1,000 shots a day?
It's hard, but I'm trying. I'm
Okay.
there, though. I'm there. Yes, sir.
What's it like playing for this guy?
Oh, man, it's different. I'll give Coach Rich his props. Like, he's by far the best coach I've ever had. I wouldn't say we didn't click at first, but, I've never been coached the way he coaches. So it was very hard for me to accept that and knowing that he really does want the best for you. So now, I love it. I can't say really anything bad about it.
So we're nearing the end of the regular season. Really, nobody's beat this team on the court yet.
Yes,
Nobody's beat you guys on the court. How well do you think the team has come together and are playing right now, and what do they need to improve on?
From the first game, I think we've improved significantly. Just in all aspects of the game, teamwork, shooting, everything really, we've improved a lot. Some aspects I think we need to improve on. I'm not going to get into any detail. I know we have, some competitors watching, but, I think one thing we can really just, get on the grindstone about is just our work ethic. We are, like you said, undefeated on the court, but that doesn't stop. This isn't the goal right here. We have a bigger goal at the end of the season.
Good deal. I think that's a great way to frame it up. So what are your goals after you finish college here at DDCC?
Potentially after this, I want to finish my associate's degree, of course. Since I'm older, I have had community college experience before this, not playing basketball or anything, but, I'm hopefully going to obtain 2 associate's degrees from here. And then I want to transfer to a 4-year, play there for, I don't know whether I'm going to finish out my bachelor's or not, but hopefully just get overseas and start making money from this.
Keep grinding. So
Yes, sir.
Any other nickname other than your real name is Keenan, right?
Kenan, yes, sir.
Kenan. So KT is what they call you. Any other nicknames that you go by, or any that you can share?
TZ, KTZ, they might try to, make fun of my age, call me Unc, whatever here and there, but nothing much really.
It's not bad being the older guy.
Oh, no, never is, just with experience-wise, it never is,
All right, well, keep grinding, KT.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you. Nice job. Excellent job. Well-spoken young man. Jordis Brodnick's going to come up next. Jordis also a redshirt Storm guard. So we welcome Jordis to the program. Jordis, welcome.
Thank you. Out
of Winston-Salem, nearby West Forsyth High School.
Yes, sir.
Had a really good high school career there at West Forsyth. And if Storm fans recognize that last name, you also had a brother that played basketball here. Ryan played here several years ago. He was an all-Tar Heel Conference Region 10 first-team honoree in 2020. So been a few years, and then went on to Livingston College, I think, and played at a 4-year program there. But he had a good season here. Did him playing here play a factor in you choosing to come to DDCC?
Absolutely. Watching him play his second year, well, his first year was pretty decent, but second year definitely I got to see a team that really bought into everything that Coach Rich was saying and really put it all together, and it was really fun to watch. So it was definitely a thing that factored into my decision to come here.
Yeah, 12 points a game his first year, 17 points a game his second year, so much better sophomore season. Did you come to many of the games when your brother played?
Just about all of them. And we were going to go down to Illinois too, but it got canceled. So
yeah. So I'm going to ask you this, put you on the spot. Who's the better player, you or your brother?
I'm pretty sure we already know what I'm going to say and what he will say. I'm pretty sure he knows, though, if we were to put on the shoes right now, what would happen. But
So you're saying that it would be you?
absolutely.
Okay, all right. I love that confidence. That's fantastic. So what have you learned about yourself, Jordis, since joining the program here?
Major thing I've learned about myself is that I need to lock in, get out of my emotions. My emotions play a big factor in how I play on the court and off the court, and that's a real key thing that I need to learn to grow. And coming here was a big challenge in that factor. So going forward, I really need to lock in on that.
So you obviously redshirted. You're not getting to play this year. How has that experience been for you? And has that been a tough experience?
Like KT said, it's definitely a challenge. Not getting to play every game, and watching others go out there and have fun is definitely going to be a challenge. But it's something I really needed to do, and it is definitely helping me work on my mental.
So when I came in today to get ready for the show here, I noticed you were in the gym getting your shots in. Are you getting 1,000 shots a day?
Every day that I can.
All right. What does a typical day in the life of Jordis look like as a student athlete here?
Just about every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, wake up around 6 o'clock, got an 8 a.m. class. After all my classes, make sure all my study hall hours are handled. Try to get study hall hours done early in the week, like at least by Tuesday, so I ain't really got to worry about nothing else. And then any free time I have after that, I'm in the gym, getting shots up.
So what are the strengths that you bring to this program?
One strength is, I can jump. I feel like sometimes, I'm going to say sometimes. Whenever I'm confident, I really do play a lot better, and I see that in myself. So building confidence, it comes from preparation. So a lot of preparation. I hope to bring a lot of confidence next year and play to my full ability.
I've heard you could jump out of the gym. You could have made that dunk that DJ missed last night, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
You get a little DJ shot there. So any area of your game that you really need to work on?
It's just mainly just confidence. A lot of things like shooting has been a pretty big struggle for me this year, but it's mainly because I'm not believing in myself when I'm shooting, and it's definitely something I really have to work on.
Yeah, you bring that confidence. You do anything that you want to do in life, Jordis. I promise you that. What do you think about the team so far this season?
This is a very talented team. This team has potential to go all the way. I feel like we get in our own way. That's the only thing that can really stop us at the end of the day is ourselves. We get in our own ways with our ego sometimes, and that really plays a big factor. But if we were to put all that stuff aside, this team is very talented and has a lot of potential.
So what are your goals when you finish school here?
Definitely trying to get to a 4-year. Ryan, I'm trying to go further than Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah. He went to Livingstone, and I'm definitely trying to go somewhere outside, play for 4 years, and just see where basketball takes me from there.
Keep growing your confidence in yourself and take yourself as far as you want to go.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you spending some time with us. Jordis Brodnick, thank you, sir. Looking forward to seeing you in uniform next year. All right, Coach, we got a little bit of time left. We'll chat a little bit. We won't go into the rest of the games coming up the regular season except for tomorrow's game. We want to talk a little bit about that, let you chat about it for a moment. On the road tomorrow against a team that is a tough team, always gives you a tough game. Patrick and Henry, they're 7-10. They moved down to D3, but they've had to forfeit some ball games. They're a better team than that record indicates. They beat Lewisburg, and I know that they played Sand Hills very, very close as well. What are you expecting from that team tomorrow?
Well, clearly they're much better than our record because of the forfeits. This game was scheduled very intentionally to give us a tough, non-conference away road trip late in the season. And it's exactly what it's turned out to be. They're hungry. They had to forfeit these games recently. They almost beat us twice last year when they were D2. They still got some of those D2 scholarship players like number 3, who's one of the best players in our entire region, D1, D2, D3. Jalen Faber is phenomenal. They got one of the best three-point shooting teams, not just in Region 10, but the country. Number 5 for them can score it on all 3 levels. So it's going to be a big challenge for this group over here and myself and my staff. We spent a lot of hours prepping for this game, so I'm hoping that these guys are really hungry tomorrow night at 7 o'clock because it's going to take a big effort to come out of there with a win.
Well, down the stretch here of the regular season, how healthy are you guys?
Well, it's been an ongoing, battle all year. Trey's still obviously managing that knee. Alex is coming off the ankle injury. Zaire. Caleb had the back issue all year, and then he got sick last week, was in the hospital. Dane had shoulder surgery. And then recently, Jacob Moore hurts his back at Cleveland. And then Monday of this week has a head injury, didn't play last night, got cleared today. DJ Suggs jammed his finger, and Najee Stroman rolled his ankle. So, it's on and on. But it's just part of athletics. Fortunately, most of these things are not season-ending type injuries. But, obviously we've had some guys out for several weeks and in some cases months like Caleb Walker. But the guys that dressed, 13 of them are dressing now. And, they're managing their injury/hurt stuff that got going on as best as possible.
Well, hopefully you can get all healthy and healed up by the time conference rolls around in a couple of weeks. So in the spirit of family, we always talk about Storm family here. Let's chat a little bit about some of those former players that are out still playing ball at four-year schools. Let our listeners know how they're doing right now.
Well, that's one of the things I'm most proud of is like our guys moving on, getting full scholarships, not having to pay a dime at the next level. Mom and dad's getting their son a free education. And I was looking at it last night, Miles. 7 of our 9 that are playing right now at Division II or there's a couple at D3s are averaging 8 points or more. And 7 of 9 are also on teams that have over a 500 winning percentage. So not only are they playing and contributing, but they're also winning. And that's what four-year coaches obviously want. And so not only did they help us win, they're helping coaches at the next level win. Javion's killing it, averaging 14 and I believe 4 rebounds and 3.5 steals. Led the whole country in steals last year, and he's doing it again this year at the NCAA Division I, Division II, and Division III. Zai Dawkins is probably the best player in that Carolinas conferences, averaging over 20 points a game. Tim Boulware's averaging right at 10 points and 5 rebounds at Greensboro. LJ's at 9 points a game at Lees McRae. Jonathan Faust at about 9 points a game at Lynchburg. Aaron Ross and Keith Reese are also playing quality minutes. And Jaheim and Chase have both started some games. Chase has been out recently for an injury, but they're both averaging, I believe, 12 and 9 points respectively. So couldn't be prouder of those 9 guys, and they're all on track to get their degree from those institutions. So that's the most important thing is they're getting their education and they're going to be able to go on. And some of these guys, I think, will have a chance to go overseas and play professionally.
Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely great. It's great to see those guys do that, to watch them, follow them. And the interesting thing is a lot of them, are coming back here and they'll come in when they don't have games or practices. Even their parents and their grandparents still follow the Storm, and I will get comments during ball games and sometimes during Facebook that they're actually watching. So, I know Charity Ross and Essie Jones are still out there chatting. So it's really great to see, and it really is a big, big family. Also, Jarvis Tillman, not playing, but Jarvis came back here last night and actually put on a headset because, Kevin Gardner was out sick, and he did a really good job. So everybody having some success as they leave the program here.
Well, we truly try to be a family.
Yep.
And when players come here, it's not a 2-year commitment. It's a life commitment. And one of the things I'm really proud of is our guys feel connected to not just myself and staff, but the community. I mean, you got Kevin Gardner and Brian Hughes and other people in our community that have traveled with their family to see these young men play at four-year schools. So, there's a lot of love and relationships on both sides, the players and, of course, the community and our staff. So just couldn't be prouder of the Storm family that we have here.
Also, I want to thank our sponsors, give you a chance to give a shout-out. I know Todd Hunt from Jerry Hunt Supercenter was here in the gym last night watching the team play. But, he's one, but there are a lot of sponsors you probably want to thank.
Well, there's an endless number. But, we mentioned usually the top ones, Todd at Jerry Hunt, Josh at Hill Group, Strickland at Strickland Brothers, and Fidelity Mohawk. But there's so many other people, like your Scott Overtons, your Manuel Teagues, yourself, and I could go on and on and on. And so anyone out there that's contributed and given money, thank you so much, because it does take a lot to even have one athletic team at this level. We're not allowed to use any state funds to have a community college athletic program. We have to use money from our foundation and student fees. So thank you so much, Storm Nation, for helping us even have this opportunity to have a basketball program and volleyball program.
Next game tomorrow, like you said, on the road at Patrick and Henry, 7 o'clock. Our next coaches show going to be February 29th at 7 p.m. We'll be able to wrap up the regular season and then look at the tournament coming up for that. And I just want to thank you, Coach, for all you do here. Thanks, Scott Overton, for being our guest, KT Tatum, Jordis Broadnex, also Patrick Stevens here for doing our engineering work tonight, and for all our Storm viewers that support this program and come and watch these guys, these young men, play some fantastic basketball.
I'd like to thank all those people, and Manuel, best statistician, and all of JUCO, Caleb, who helps them. We've had some guys fill in while Caleb was out. So Jordis actually has been filling in. And then we got Mark Sanders in the house over there tonight with Nations of Coaches. Mark blessed us with a guy that we haven't mentioned tonight, and that's John Bowman, who comes out 1 to 2 times a week to minister to not just myself and my staff, but these guys to my right. So all these people are a part of who we are. And as you well know, on game day, it takes an army of volunteers to put on the production that we put on, like your Scott Overtons and yourself, and I could go on and on, Kip, Mark Beck, et cetera, et cetera. So, it's just so many people that make us who we are, and you're a big part of it.
Well, we appreciate you, Coach, and good luck to you guys. Bring home a win tomorrow, and we will see you on February 29th. Come on out and join us. There's plenty of seats here for our next coaches show. Go Storm.